Hello, everyone. Welcome again to our new episode of Discovering Digital Creators. Thank you very much, Tyrone, for being here with us today. We will be discussing about your work and some insights around NFTs and your creative process. So I would like to know more about your background and how did you get into digital art?
Um, Probably started. I went to university up in Leeds and I studied computer animation and visual effects up there. First few years was mainly focused around like 3ds Max and modeling and ZBrush, and I enjoyed that to a certain degree, but I don't know, someone introduced me to Cinema 4D and Houdini in the last year of uni, and that sort of really caught my attention. And I sort of saw the power of like how you can like manipulate simulations to your will and kind of create what you want in this 3D space. And I'm pretty shit at drawing, so sort of gave me a medium in which I could express myself a bit better. But yeah, that's where it started. And then I was a runner at the mill for about a year, and then I sodded that off because there wasn't really much progression at the mill. And then I was an intern at Landor and Fitch, which is like a branding agency there, and now I'm a
Mm.
3D motion designer there full time, doing a bit of freelance on the sides and making NFTs now since last year.
And so how did you decide to get into NFTs? Like why did you decide to get into this space?
Oh, wow, that's a very big question. I think it's just kind of giving the power back to the artists a bit. I think I've seen a lot of like big artists on Twitter. They've kind of been able to almost say no to freelance gigs, or they're being given complete creative freedom over the freelance projects because now they can make the money off the NFTs, and they're making sometimes three, four times, maybe like 100 times the amount they would of a freelance gig, and they can make whatever they want, and they don't
Mm.
have to abide to any client feedback or anything. But yeah, I think I saw it on like maybe mid last year. I saw a few people on like Super Rare and Maker's Place on my Instagram. So I was just like, I applied to Maker's Place and Super Rare, and Maker's Place let me in. So I've just been uploading to there. Been using that Hick et Nunc a bit because that's like Tezos is apparently a bit more environmentally friendly
Mm.
and all of that. So yeah, it's been interesting. I had to get Twitter. I hate Twitter, but I had to get it because apparently all of the collectors are on there. So, and most of the traffic to these NFT websites comes from Twitter. So,
That's true. Like some artists were like focusing mostly on Instagram, and now that they are into the NFT space, they need to optimize their Twitter account to get also visibility from the collector side. So, what do you think are some of the main challenges in terms of this, like for people who build it, an audience on another platform and then they need to move that audience into another place?
mm, I don't know what the best way about it is.
Hmm.
I'm probably not great at it, but I got that the Try Showtime. You know about that? I spoke to
Yes.
the CEOs of that the other month, and I think that's a really promising platform. Like the idea that you can, because there's going to be in the future, I reckon there's going to be hundreds of these NFT like platforms, and to be able to like put them all in one space on one website is going to be very, very useful. And they seem to be the main leaders in that sort of area. I saw gallery.co or something, which was quite clean as well. But I think that's going to be a good way to get yourself known in the NFT space. And on the Twitter front, I hate social media marketing and I hate social media in probably all aspects. And I think it's probably one of the worst things to happen to our generation. But yeah, just tweet your work, get visibility. If you don't put yourself out there, you're not going to get fucking seen, are you really?
Yeah, like it's in the NFT space, it's all about like communicating with collectors and with the audience and getting that visibility to be able to sell your artworks.
Yeah, you got to market yourself now. There's no middleman. Although I guess if you're doing a drop through Makerspace or Nifty, the middleman is almost the platform and they do some of the advertising for you.
Yeah, it depends. Or some artists, I think they are also trying to get a small team, a community manager, also to help them to communicate and engage with their audience.
Yeah, 100%. I probably need one of those.
And tell me, what is the inspiration behind your works? Like something that I noticed and I quite liked about your work is that you have a very kind of a specific style. You work a lot with like kind of like bioluminescence and some specific colors. So yeah, tell me more about your work.
Oh, yeah, I'm probably going through quite my girlfriend said I'm going for a bright color phase at the moment. So, but yeah, I don't really like having a style too much because I get a bit bored of it. I enjoy just kind of experimenting with whatever interests me. And in terms of what inspires me to make art, that's pretty varied as well. I mean, sometimes I'll just like go outside and see some strange motion in nature or something like that, and that'll inspire something. Sometimes I'll just be watching a tutorial for some like client project, and then I'll just go on a complete tangent from what I learned in the tutorial. There's so many different ways like that. Everything inspires me. Life inspires me. Put it that way.
And what do you think is like the thing that makes your artwork unique, like unique of Tyrone Doyle?
Uh, I made it. That's what makes it unique. No, I don't. I think there's a lot. It's a very saturated market, the whole art game at the moment. There's a lot of people trying to get into the NFT space. A lot of people with different styles. I think just make what interests you and don't adhere to don't change your artwork because someone says, "Oh, I don't like your artwork." Artwork is like the most subjective thing you can do. Art is so subjective. One person might love it, one person might hate it. Someone sold a sellotaped banana on a wall for millions of pounds. It's the justification behind the artwork rather and like the community you build behind your art. It's there's so many ways. I don't think you can critique artwork like that, and you shouldn't.
Mm.
I saw Trevor Jones on Twitter the other day. He rated Blake Catherine did a drop with Paris Hilton on Nifty Gateway, and he did a questionnaire or like a little like a poll on Twitter where you could rate her artwork out of 10. And I was like, this is so wrong. You shouldn't be rating someone else's artwork out of 10. Like, that's just stupid.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it's not fair. Like they like different artists, they have different things and different stories and different styles, and they have the
Exactly.
way that they are developing their practice.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, as they say.
Yeah, I agree with that. And so, do you have any particular piece from your portfolio that you really like and like you think that people should really check it out and have a look at that particular piece
Oh,
from your portfolio?
yeah, yeah. In terms of one that took me the longest to make, is probably the Hammerhead Sharks one that's on my Maker's Place at the moment. Just because I didn't want to fake the caustics, so you had to put the samples up to like 16,000 samples per frame, and it took like 3 weeks to render or something ridiculous, and I spent quite a lot of time on that. But yeah, there's a plugin for Cinema 4D called Hot 4D or something that gives you like a quite a realistic sort of water surface. And then I shined like a very bright light through that and had to play around with that for weeks to get the sort of sharpness of the caustics that I wanted. I remember a while ago I did some like procedural caustics set up in Redshift. That was quite fun. I like messing around with how light interacts with glass, I think, quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I like putting animals in my artwork quite a lot. I like plants. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I don't have a specific style. Sometimes I'll jump into Houdini, do some weird vellum simulations, or sometimes I'll just play around with like MoGraph in Cinema 4D, do some texturing and Substance, do some cloth sims in Marvelous, like do some human modeling in ZBrush. You know what I mean? I really don't. I get too bored. I've got a short attention span, I think.
But I particularly think that you have some sort of a style, like, because at least like from the color palette that you choose is quite unique from your artwork. Like I have seen a lot of blues, and I think it's something that is quite nice. I mean, I liked it. That's why also
Oh, okay.
I thought
Well,
that.
I appreciate that. Maybe it comes through and I don't even notice it.
And how do you see your art practice going into the future? What do you want to explore or do in the next few years?
Uh, I just want to keep learning and keep making stuff that interests me. There's no specific goal with this. It's just, yeah, I never even intended to start selling my work doing NFTs. I only really started delving into cinema 4D because like the whole idea of making the computer do the work with simulations and the possibilities of motion graphics like really intrigued me. Like there's a whole world you can just basically I have a canvas with which I can do whatever I want on this in this sort of virtual space.
And do you see NFTs more as a media or more as a technology?
I think it's kind of already redefined ownership a little bit and like what it is to own something because before, well, I guess you did have like skins in Fortnite and all of that sort of stuff. So it's not real. There's been and like you got crypto punks and they're sort of like a collectible. And in some people's eyes, they're an artwork, and other people's eyes, they're collectibles. I don't really know how you define it or like the difference between the two. I think it is a definitely a game-changing technology. All these like ERC 720 tokens and the actual technology behind it, because no one can really hack the Ethereum blockchain or anything like that, can they? Because it's on several different hundreds of servers all around the world, and they all have to have the same information. So you could have a Van Gogh in your house or something like that. If someone steals that, you no longer have that. That's gone. Whereas no one could go into your OpenSea wallet and just nick one of your NFTs out of there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
impossible.
yeah. That's true. But I recently I saw a study, like a post that someone was talking about some vulnerabilities around
Oh, it's
the
new.
NFT
This
block.
is so new.
Mhm,
No one knows, but like when it gets to the point where it's fully secure, I don't even think Bitcoin or Ethereum will be the cryptocurrency that we use in 10 years, to be honest. They're
mm.
so like Nate, I don't know, like it's like the adolescence almost of cryptocurrency. Something else will get. I saw Bitcoin being sort of spouted about, and I saw China are adopting their own cryptocurrency. Like this is the start. Governments are going to adopt the cryptocurrency, and then they're probably going to be like Ethereum and Bitcoin. You boys fuck off. But we'll see how that goes. And they've made cryptocurrency illegal in Turkey. I saw. I don't know how
Yes.
that's going to go.
Yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, many countries are starting to think about doing their own cryptocurrency, and I think yeah, I mean it's going to become totally mainstream very soon.
Yeah, 100%, if not already.
Yeah. And do you have any particular artists, like either from traditional art or from digital art that you admire, or any artistic movement that you think like inspires also part of your artwork and practice?
Mm, in terms of classical artists, I love Monets. I'm a sucker for a Monet. But in terms of motion, like 3D design, I've got a friend called Matt Taylor who lives up in Leeds, and he makes some of the like craziest optical illusions in Houdini, and he really inspires me. I'm hopefully going to do a collab with him soon. Uh, I do like a Van Gogh. I quite like sort of surreal, like, not too realistic. I'm not a fan of photorealism, fine art, stills. Like I like abstract contemporary. I remember I went to I think it's the Saatchi Gallery in London like a long time ago, about 3 years ago, and they had that exhibition of it was about an inch of oil on the water on the floor, just and it was just reflecting basically half of the room, and it looked quite beautiful, and that's probably one of my favorite artworks that I've seen to date.
Cool. What do you remember the name of the exhibition or the
Not
artist?
at all. Not at all. I do remember as well in I'm not going to remember the name of it. It's another art gallery up in Manchester. Some guy had hung up on strings every item you find in a garage, and he put a light in the center of this sort of cube of items, and that was quite cool. I don't remember the name of the artist either. That's quite bad of me, but I enjoyed the exhibition nonetheless.
Cool. And in terms of community building, and communication. What do you see are the main challenges for new artists getting into the NFT space?
Getting your name out there. I think I'm struggling with that one. I think yeah, just keep at it, keep grinding on the Twitter front, keep making your art, but don't focus too much on the social media aspects, which I think a lot of people are doing. I see a lot of like shilling threads or whatever it is on Twitter and just like non-stop, like people just posting their art, like pushing it down collectors' throats. I think a collector is much more likely to collect your work if they just like stumble upon it like naturally. But yeah, I think if you make the art and your art is good and some people enjoy looking at it, then you'll reap the rewards from that. But yeah, focus on the art basically.
So focus on the craftsmanship, on
Yeah,
the
focus on your
technique.
craft. Always focus on learning and honing your craft and honing yourself as a person, and it will come. And if like you have to do a bit of Twitter on the side to kind of publicize yourself, that's what you got to do.
Yes, yeah, I have seen also a lot of those shilling threads on Twitter. That's something that is
Oh my
quite
God.
common right now. And also, like, there are some fake artists that are trying to scam um, collectors, and the other way around as well, like fake collectors who try to like kind of like abuse artists. Like, what do you think can be done also to help artists or
Mm.
collectors?
I think maybe these NFT platforms should have a bit more of a support platform. I think like Nifty Gateway I've seen on Twitter, apparently their support is non-existent. But I saw as well Big Mike or something like that on Maker's Place, 888, was saying that he was harassing artists and making them accept bids that they didn't want to and stuff like that. I think just you don't adhere to it. If someone tells
Mm.
me to accept a bid, I'm just going to be like, no, there's no obligation. We're doing this over the internet. There's no threat of like violence to you or anything. Do you know what I mean? Just don't accept the offer. And if the collector's a dickhead, don't sell it to them. Choose your
Y-
collectors wisely, I reckon.
yes. And do you think like there should be more engagement also with collectors, like trying to also like connect with them online through events and things like that, where you can also build more like a human relationship
Yeah,
rather than being totally anonymous?
yeah. Well, I've spoken to a few of my collectors on Twitter, and a few of them are quite like. There's this one guy called Crypto Steve, and he's super knowledgeable about like all of the origins of cryptocurrency. And I remember about 3 weeks ago, I got into Clubhouse a little bit, and I was on Clubhouse for a week, kind of dipping in and out of rooms. I don't really like the app anymore. There's a lot of wafflers on there and a lot of misogynistic men who just want to fucking chat their arse off about stupid, pointless things. But
Mm.
I think it's good to speak to your collectors. Definitely get to know them. Like anyone who enjoys your artwork and resonates with it, you should definitely connect with them.
Great. And yeah, my last question is like any recommendation that you can give to people who are not yet in the NFT space and who would like to get into it, or like young people who are still in high school who would maybe think that becoming a digital artist.
Don't hesitate. Dive in. Get started. Literally. I saw that Jasty Designs, maybe that guy on Twitter. He's like a 15-year-old vector artist and he's on Super Rare and he's selling pieces for like 60, 70 grand. So don't hesitate, dive in. What have you got to lose? You might as well put yourself out there.
Great. Thank you very much for being with us and for discussing your work today with us, Tyrone.
That's all right.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening, and please don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Twitter at Snifty, or visit our website snifty.com to know more about what we are building, a social network based around NFTs for digital artists, collectors, and curators.